Can cupping really help with gaming injuries? In this video, I talk about some of the recent uses of cupping, the underlying science, and then we actually go through some protocols so you can use traditional or an active way cupper to improve your mobility and possibly help with pain. So cupping has been seen and popularized by the 2016 Olympics, and it's an alternative therapy that's been used for centuries. And because of the popularization, this led to a lot of questioning about whether there's even evidence behind this treatment approach. And as of right now, there is inconsistent evidence supporting its benefit to both pain and mobility. However, the majority of studies look at static dry cupping without actual movement. So if you do not care about research, then you can go ahead and skip straight into the protocols and how it might be able to help you. But if you do want to learn a little more about what's current in the evidence, stick around. Okay, so let's first start by talking about pain, because there's quite a few studies that have evaluated pain. Again, the majority have taken cupping in isolation. There was one recently published in 2021 that looked at the difference between cupping and sham cupping. So cupping that did absolutely nothing, and they found no major difference. And it was actually a pretty well-designed study that involved cupping for 10 minutes, one time a week for 8 weeks in individuals with non-specific low back pain. Of course, I think most practitioners do not use it in isolation, as well as the way that we like to typically use it is with a little bit of movement, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. On the flip side, there are studies that have shown benefits with dry cupping. There was one study that was a randomized controlled trial in 2017, albeit small, and they did cupping twice a week compared to the single time a week. Showed some benefits with respect to pain. And then there was a meta-analysis that took 21 different randomized control trials and did indeed show some benefit for pain for chronic neck pain and non-specific low back pain. But to be fair, the types of studies that they included in this study was those that use dry cupping in isolation or combined with another modality. And those are things like moving cupping, which we'll be describing later, pneumatic cupping, of course, stationary cupping by itself, pulsatile cupping, cupping plus physical therapy, then cupping plus active emotion. So a lot of different types of cupping interventions that were incorporated that could have led to the mixed results. I think dry cupping itself, I would have less confidence in its ability to provide therapeutic benefit. Okay, then we need to move on to the discussion of mobility. Again, there's inconsistent evidence, some showing some benefit, some showing there is. However, it is definitely important to note that those that did find benefit utilized an active approach, meaning the cups were applied and then active movement was applied on top of it, whether it be pneumatic or active range of motion on top of that. And that's the type of protocol that we're going to be including here today. We want to be able to utilize it in an active way, and utilizing the cup as a way to stretch the muscle at a certain point while then actively moving it through its range. And that acts similar to what we know as ART, or what we do very commonly as pin and stretch techniques that have definitely shown benefit for mobility, for flexibility, for strength, and sometimes even pain. So in terms of the basic science and physiology, there's probably a lot of depth that we can go into, but the bottom line is that when we're using this negative pressure of the cup, it might be stimulating certain nerves that allow reflexive relaxation of the muscles. For those that want to know muscle spindle GTO, it can act through soft tissue mobilization to increase blood flow, lymphatic drainage, tissue stiffness, and alter neuromuscular activity. So there's a lot of things there. I'll leave some references in the description so you guys can look through it if you want. But the main caveat is that we should treat cupping as an adjunct therapy, meaning it is a technique that will supplement or support the key things that allow us to stay physically healthy, which, as I have mentioned many times before, it's movement and staying physically active. And of course, exercise to develop our physical conditioning or mobility, strength, and coordination. With any of these protocols, make sure you start with less overall pressure so you can assess how you handle the cupping after the first session. And as you guys know, cupping can cause temporary bruising and soreness that can last up to 1 to 3 weeks, and that is really just dependent on the suction or vacuum created. For the upper trap protocol, when you're lying on your stomach, you can use the edge of a bed. You can apply the cup at your trapezius as shown. You can do either one side or you can do both sides. And what you're going to be doing is applying 1 to 2 to 3 pumps. You want to start light as mentioned, maintaining the cups there for a duration of 3 minutes, and then going through active range of motion. So there's several ways that you can do it. You can bring your head up and down, moving into flexion and extension as shown. And then you can move side to side, tilting your left ear to your left shoulder, right ear to right shoulder. And then you can also add some rotations so that it really gets the full range of motion across multiple planes of motion. For the seated upper trap and levator protocol, what you're going to be doing is applying it in the same area as shown. You're going to sit on the edge of any chair or bed, making sure your chest is up, tucking your chin, and then bringing your left ear to your left shoulder, and then bringing it back forward. Left ear to left shoulder, bring it back forward, performing 10 to 20 repetitions. Again, after a static hold of about 3 minutes. The levator scapula component, which is this muscle shown here, can be done by rotating your head away from the cup and then looking down into your armpit. Then you look back up and then you rotate back forward. And you repeat that 10 to 20 times plus the 3 minutes. For the next exercise and protocol, we're going to be targeting the entire spine and back, really allowing for full mobility. You're going to be applying the cups in the same position along the larger muscles of the back, the paraspinals, and this can be performed in both sitting and in the quadruped or the hands and knees position. You're going to be arching your back as shown and then really arching it as far as you can, arching it as much as shown, and then arching it, really extending, creating that dip in the lower back, getting as far into the range with each repetition. You can do this again in the seated position as shown. After about 3 minutes of the hold, then you want to perform those 10 to 20 repetitions. You can even perform it in both positions if you like to really get more of an overall stretch of this muscle group. For the shoulder, we have 3 different protocols, all targeting the same muscle groups and regions, the latissimus and posterior cuff. After the application of the cup in the area shown, what you're going to be doing is standing up tall, lifting your arms up in the plane of your shoulder blade, and performing about 10 to 20 repetitions after you've had the cup on for 3 minutes. Next, we're going to be doing horizontal ADJUNCT, and this is also going to be working the latissimus and posterior cuff, again performing it for 10 to 20 repetitions once you place the cup there for 3 minutes. Lastly, we have the rockbacks. And as you can see, for all of these protocols, the cup is in the same area. You're going to be going on your hands and your knees and then rocking back until you feel a stretch in that lat and posterior cuff area, and then repeat 10 to 20 times after you have that 3-minute hold. Moving on, we have the wrist and forearm protocols. We're going to start with the wrist flexors and the pronators. Those are the muscles on the front side of our forearm. And in order to perform this exercise, establish the cup at the area shown at the bulk of where the wrist flexors are. You're going to start with a 3-minute static hold, build up some of that negative pressure, and then you're going to perform 10 to 20 repetitions of some of the sequence shown. You're going to start by turning your palm all the way up, then bending your wrist down. That will lengthen your wrist flexors. And then you can repeat, bring your wrist back, turning your palm down, turning your palm out again, bend your wrist down. And you can add another movement. You can bring your elbow straight in front of you and apply even more overpressure at the wrist so you can really lengthen those wrist flexors as you're providing this negative pressure at the bulk of the wrist flexors. So you can perform those series 10 to 20 times following that 3-minute static hold. And the other protocol that's going to be for your forearm is for your wrist extensors. Those are the muscles that control lifting your fingers and wrist up away from the table when your palm is facing down. You're going to be applying the cup at the bulk of the wrist extensors in the area shown. Again, allowing it to be held for 3 minutes statically. You're going to keep your elbows straight in front of you. You can use the support of a table if you'd like, or if not, you can just keep your arms up as shown. You're going to make a fist slowly and then bend your wrist down, applying some overpressure. This will lengthen the wrist extensors while you have this negative pressure at the bulk of the muscles, allowing for a better and more deep stretch for this muscle group. So again, the protocol, 3 minutes on, 10 to 20 active repetitions on top of that, nice and slowly as shown, and that is all. Hey guys, that is all. Hope you guys learned a lot about cupping and whether it can be beneficial for gamers, especially with how it is utilized. Remember, with the research, when we use it in an active way, there are more potential benefits. So that's how you should be using it. If you do get cupping with someone, or if you want to cup yourself, you have some protocols that are shown in the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share this with anyone that you feel like it might be helpful for. And let me know if there's anything else you want me to touch on as it relates to cupping. But if not, I will see you guys again soon. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you need individualized coaching for your injuries, sleep, exercise, or nutrition, you can check out our Patreon. And of course, you can catch us live on YouTube or Twitch. Play more, hurt less.